But let's jump right in here to the Q&A. What questions do we have today? Thoughts, things we're working through or, pondering on? Just put it in the chat, unmute, raise a hand. Charles, quick on the draw there. If you want to unmute, what's going on?
I have a couple questions, but there's one, I have lots of questions the more I do this stuff, but I'm just going to ask one, and maybe just if people have an opinion on this. So like on this one job I'm doing right now, there was like a fairly decent sized mistake, but I'm not like 100% sure if it was the homeowner's fault or my fault. And it was just like, it was a slider door, but the homeowner wanted the slider on the right hand instead of the left hand. But I don't remember us ever actually talking about it. And of course I want to make the client happy. I'm making a lot of money on this job. But it's like a $2,000 mistake. So it's not a small one because they won't return the door and I'll have to just order a new door. But I'm just like, does anybody have advice on how to deal with a situation like that? Because I want to do the right thing and do good by him because, it's a good client and he's a nice guy and it's a big job, but I don't know. I just have been trying to be careful with my words on this one and just like what exactly I should do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably every person that's done the business has run into some situation like this. So we'll let anybody that's got some feedback for him. I think, Danny, your hand came up after Charles started talking. So I may see if you have something you wanted to chime in here with.
Yes. Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, Danny.
Good morning, Nicole. Yeah, no, that's a situation we've run into a few times. So we actually made a mistake one time on a commercial job. Not by us, by the subcontractor, where the epoxy floors came out bad in the warehouse, and instead of redoing them, so like you said it was a $2,000 mistake. We basically went to the client and your situation might be a little different. Maybe I would phrase it more, this was something we didn't really discuss. It's kind of a bigger issue at this point. What if we came to agreement where I give you $1,000 discount and then now you're saving $1,000 plus time? So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I think that's a great option.
Scott, I think you were.
Yeah.
I
saw your hand up. Feedback here.
Yeah, we've run into that. Not so much lately, but I'd say in years gone by, and we're trying to do, and it still happens, we're trying to do a better job of taking that questionnaire all up front. We know windows open different directions, doors open different directions. If it was us, I would probably suck it up, eat it, tell the client, yep, you're right. We should have asked you that, even though you didn't tell us. This one's on us. And we've had to do that a few times, and it stinks. But then next time, now you get that pain point. You're going, okay, next time I put in a door, I'm asking them left opening, right opening, in swing, out swing. Now you're going over all that stuff with them, and because there's nothing like having like your deal. The client walks in to do a kind of I want to look at my house, what you've done, and then they're like, oh, that was supposed to be the other way. Oh, I wanted a 6-panel instead of a 2-panel, all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to get better at that. But if it was us, we'd probably end up, if it's $2,000, now if it's a $3,000 job, that may be a little different. You're trying to help somebody out. But if it's a big job, we'd probably just suck it up and eat it and try to hopefully find a job where we can put that door in.
Plus, you never want them to look at that door and always think negatively of you.
Yeah, that's just it. That's what they would say. They would say, "Hey, that contractor," and they would. Then that's what they would share with their friends. When they have their dinner party. Hey, look at this door. It looks nice. Yeah, but the contractor. So you don't want that.
Yeah.
Get him on the next one.
Yeah.
Add it to the next job.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
You said you're doing more work for him?
Yeah, he's a really great guy, and he's been a really good client to deal with. So I kind of just want to make him happy. I'm like,
yeah,
he's like had like, and I feel like it just messes up the whole feng shui of his house, and I would hate to leave it like that.
Yeah. And this is a change order, and this is the one type of change order that you have to eat a little bit of crow on. Like I see a lot of clients who eat crow on change orders. They should not. You know, if the customer changes their mind, if it's a new thing that they're adding to the job, if it's something that was unforeseen, that's a new price, new timeline. Your margin should be on top of it. You know, you shouldn't have to eat that. If we effed up, if we skipped a step that we shouldn't have, if we miscommunicated, if our guys mess up and we're having to redo it, this is the only time where, Charles, I think the advice that you've been given is solid, you know, where it's like, hey, let's talk to him about it. Let's make it right. Maybe you can use that door on a different job, you know. And I think that you going above and beyond for them, you know, is going to cause it to be like the client, like Jeffrey's at 20 years down the road, is more likely to call you because you did that for him. Yeah. Ty, I see your hand up.
I'm actually would like to invoke the California voting laws rules and actually put my vote in for my win that I missed earlier and count it now.
Okay.
We've had, honest to God, too many wins to count. And I know that sounds terrible when I've got a ton of friends right now in the industry that are just dying. It has been absurd. But one of the biggest ones, and the kind of, y'all are talking about Google leads. The very first Google lead that I have, his name was Randall Weekly. He's in my phone, his first Google lead, first Google business guaranteed lead. He lived 3 streets over from me, ironically, crazy enough. He wanted outdoor carpet. I didn't even know if my flooring guy would do it. We did 320 square foot of outdoor carpet after I paid for the $130 Google lead, the marine grade mastic, and I think I netted, or excuse me, grossed about $60. And that was 4 months ago. Today, we're working on $77,000 of bathroom remodel and took out a 21-foot wall in his living room and put in an LVL, and we're working on that today. And he just called us out of the blue 4 months later. So
nice.
I didn't want to call him back on the marine grade carpet, but very glad I did. So Andy gave us a 5-star lead or 5-star review back on that one after Leslie had called him about 9 times.
You got the lawn located?
Yep, and it will take sometimes 9 times to get that review. But I love that you guys are still tenacious about it. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about during the wins. You're not necessarily badgering people. People are perpetually distracted. They have great intentions. And so you following up for that review is not a negative thing. It's not going to cause it to be a bad review. You know, people are just busy. It's just life. They get caught up with stuff just like you do.
Yeah. Nice. Mr. KNS, I'm sorry I don't know your name, but I think you had your hand up earlier. What's your name? Oh, you're muted.
It's Hanifa, but I didn't know how to change it.
Oh, it's okay. Hanifa, what do you got, sir? What's your question?
My question is with estimating. I'm always very hesitant about in the service area of my business on estimating. I've got hits before, and I win, and I get hits a lot. But I'm trying to like have a way to, because every time I send an estimate, I don't want it to be high and lose the job, or too low and I, lose the job.
Yeah, you lose your hat on the job.
So is there like, I'm in the electrical industry, so is there any advice would you guys give me?
Yeah, definitely. First question I'll ask, and then I know some other people probably want to chime in. How do you currently price? What do you currently use to make a price for your service side?
I just price it per item sometimes, or just guesstimate, just guess how much it's going to take me, how much time it's going to take me, how many guys, and do it like a material. But in most cases, we run into a lot of unknowns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, end up costing me more labor and material.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Especially
Okay, we
with
definitely got some
upfits and remodelings, because we walk into the house and see some stuff, and then it's more in the attic or in the crawl space, more work.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, definitely got some feedback for you, but I'll let some clients go first. I don't know if Scott and Jordan or Dalen, even if any of you guys were giving feedback or still had a question.
Yeah, I had
I would-
feedback. Dalen was ahead of me, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dalen.
Know your numbers. That's where you start there, is know what it costs to run your business. It's got to be systematic. You can't just guess. If you guess, you're indefinitely losing money on every job if you're guessing, and have no strategy to your estimating. And I learned this in the truck as an employee, quoting jobs, because had a small commission base, so I had to price right to keep in that range. At any rate, now as a business owner, you got to know what it costs to run your business. I recommend, I'm 90% service plumbing. We have a set price for everything from changing a flapper out to right now we've got the excavator on a job about to dig up a backflow. We've got a set price for that, and then we have depth, add-ons. You go through and you sit down, and it'll take months to get this book together, but start with knowing your numbers and always price your jobs what it's going to take the slowest guy, not you, the slowest guy to do that work. Because you can't price it as you do things, because we're not going to be the ones doing it. We're going to have employees. And price it as the slowest employee you've ever worked with. It was good, thorough, but price it as he would do the work and how long it would take him, with your hourly rate, your overhead, your expenses, your margin markup. And once you start doing that on smaller jobs, it'll start making sense on bigger jobs as far as pricing and flat rating things and then always disclose, this does not cover the unforeseen. In every estimate, we have notes and terms that says if we get in there to change a flapper and the fill tube's cracked, this is not the same price. So just transparency and just upfront has been the easiest way for us as far as flat rate pricing and estimating. And that really speeds the guys up in the field as well, because they don't have to call me. They don't have to sit down and put pen to paper. They've got a book in the system. They open it up, type in toilet replacement, boom, there it is. They give them the price, they sign it, we're rocking and rolling.
Or
That is
like
very
for the unforeseen stuff, it's like it's a big argument with the homeowner or whoever you're doing the business with. Like I estimated a job to change out outlets, and I put 45 per outlet, and then when we got there, I found those floor boxes. It was about 50 or 60 floor boxes, and they taking the screws out, opening up the box took us longer than your standard residential plate.
Unforeseen.
The boxes were, had like 4 screws, and you had to use a flathead. You know how that is.
But that's also your due diligence going forth and looking at the job to give them the price up front. You need to be there, or your guys need to be knowledgeable enough to look at that prior to, because estimates over the phone cover the quick in and out what you priced. When you get there, you see that it's going to be more intrusive. You go to the customer before you take a screwdriver off the truck and say, hey, this is not the standard. It's going to be a little bit more. This is going to be the add-on charge for these little more intrusive measures. And typically, if you're just transparent on the front side, I haven't had a whole lot of bark back with getting there and seeing, or when we get there, we give them a price over the phone for standard. We get there, it's a 1920s house and things are not standard. So
see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty textbook from Dalen there. We absolutely agree. Of knowing your numbers, pricing based on your costs, and then you can build your own price book with time, but having the conversation and the communication of expectations up front of what we can't foresee, we can't price until we get in there. Obviously, we're experts. We should know most of what's going on here, but you've got that all in there. I put a couple links to some flat rate pricing tools that can give you a jump start on getting flat rate pricing going. But any tool that you invest in, CRM, flat rate pricing tool, whatever, is still going to need, like Dalen said, months of you kind of going through it and consistent active updating of that stuff too. So it's not all going to fix it. But yeah, the other thing that I really love that Dalen mentioned that's important is pricing it not on your most efficient guy when you're estimating your time, but on the guy that may end up on the job, in worst case scenario, so that you can always under promise but over deliver.
Yeah.
Rather than the other way around.
That's what I've been doing. I have an elite team, and they're very fast and stuff. I'm pricing all these jobs to make sure I win them. I price them based on those guys that I have with years in the business, and they know how to get it done fast. But now, when I start hiring new guys, it might hit me.
Well, one thing I want to emphasize there, Hanifa, is like just because your guys are efficient and skilled doesn't mean that you should get paid less than your average company. Like you should not be punished for getting the job done in half the time that it would take most people because we offer a premium service and have more training, and what I'll also say is like, we're going to be working on your sales process together. Because I know a lot of this, just from hearing you talk, it sounds like you're scared to price where you feel like you should price because you're going to lose the job.
Exactly.
And like, we've got to overcome that mindset. And part of that is going to be leaning into your sales process, where without value, the only thing that people care about is price. And so we have to be able to communicate value. We have to be able to present an estimate well, because you're totally right. We're like, you're not going to be able to grow the business by constantly being the cheapest guy. Like it's not gonna work.
After I quoted that specific job, I quoted at $30 an outlet. And I found out that all of my competitors that I was afraid of losing the job to, they charged it from 75 to 100 per outlet.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man.
Yeah. Yep. And one thing I also want to emphasize that Dalen said is set expectations in the beginning that change orders will happen. And when a change order happens, you cannot wait until the end of the job to communicate that change order, because people will be mad. You are guaranteeing people are going to get mad, or they're going to tell you they're not going to pay that. So you have to make sure that when a change order happens, we stop work, we communicate the change, we get the approval on the new price and timeline. And the best way for that conversation to go smoothly is to do what Dalen said, which is communicate that change orders will happen. What is a change order? Let's talk about it. And I know you and I are meeting later today, Hanifa, and we're going to go over our estimating tool, and we're going to go over a change order policy that you can start implementing on every single job, which will absolutely help.
And a price book, like, is that something I put in the CRM or?
So most of our service guys, and I would love Dalen, Jordan, any of you are going to be using softwares. I know Dalen's getting onboarded to a software right now, but just like Dalen communicated earlier, no software is going to give you a price book that works for you. Like it's going to require editing it, inputting information, but it's so worth it. Jordan, I think you guys use House Call Pro, and Dalen, I think that's what you're getting onboarded onto as well, is House Call Pro. Scott, I'll let you. I think do you have a comment on this, Scott?
I do have a comment, and then I actually jump into another meeting. But one of the things that has helped us is going to Redmond's cost plus model. So we bid things flat rate, right? So a faucet is whatever, $85 to replace a faucet. A breaker's $89 to replace a breaker. We bid it flat rate, but we tell the people that we're cost plus. If we get in and we're doing 4 breakers and it takes us half the time to do the breakers, we actually give the client a labor break on it. You don't have to, but that's how we do it. We do cost plus. But we have an incredible estimate disclosure that we use. And on the estimate disclosure, it actually has Webster's definition of an estimate. I mean, it's like you're talking to a 3rd grader. It's got Webster's definition of an estimate. Talks about the fact we can't see through walls, floors. We don't know what's behind the panel till we open it up. We don't know the kind of wiring that's in our house, the plumbing that's in their house, or all that kind of stuff. And we make them sign that as part of our contract that we have in Job Tread. And then when something's major, we'll come to them. So for instance, we open up a panel and we see, double taps and all this kind of stuff in an electrical panel. We're going to go, hey, look, we got to, you need to, we need to change these breakers out that wasn't in the bid. And all we need is them to say yes, because we're doing cost plus work. We'll fix it. We bill them for it. But it's helped. The cost plus model for Redmond has helped, and an incredible estimate disclosure has helped. When people push back about, well, why is this more money? We say, look, it was an estimate. I estimated $10,000, but the actual price by the time we got what your system needed was this much. And it really has calmed a lot of the waters in the last year since we've been implementing this. So just want to throw that in.
Yeah.
Great. Great addition. Mr.
Sure.
Russell?
Yeah.
I can only speak about my company and what we try to do, but we use that house call Pro software. It's really helped us out along the way, and just keeping everything in one location. It allows you to make your own price book, and then like what the other guys were talking about, like know your business. So like what we have found is that our goal, you want to think of things like on the small end, and then think of things on like long averages, So on the small end, we do primarily service. We're trying to stay away from remodel and new construction, but each van should produce on average $2,000 a day. And then on that $2,000, you never want on that job to have more than 25% labor and 25% materials. So that should leave 50% left over for the company. And that's just a really easy micro tool that we've used that allows the macro to take care of itself, which is the long averages, because you will have the days that are $500 days, and then you'll have the days that are $5,000 days. But when you look at the long average, that right now for us, that's at $2,200 per job that we're at for an average job size that we have, And then we really just want to keep that gross margin at 50%. So we try to never have labor go over 50%, or never have the combination of labor and materials exceed 50%. So usually that's 25%, 25%. But often it's, if you stick to that, often it comes in even better, and your gross margins around 60 or 70%. And then you'll have a couple jobs that are less, they'll be at the 40% or the 35%. But if you try to keep that as a micro per job thing, then the macro is going to take care of itself. If you focus on the small things, then the macro is going to take care of itself in the long run. But that's just what we've found, is that $2,000 per day per van is the goal. And you don't want the materials to exceed 25% of that job. So on a $2,000 job, that material shouldn't cost more than $500. The labor on that job shouldn't cost more than $500. That's just what we've found works for my company.
And for labor, do you pay them per hour or a percentage for the techs?
So our selling, the people that we have selling make an hourly rate plus 5%. We did do just pure commission about a year ago. It had some success, but we didn't really implement. We didn't think of all the what ifs, like, hey, what if this guy needs help on the job and someone else has to come help him? How do you pay that guy based on a percentage of the job? What do you do if I go and bid the job, but someone else goes and installs it? There was just a lot of what ifs that we didn't iron out. So where we're at right now is that the guys make an hourly rate plus 5% of anything that they sell. And that hourly rate's anywhere between $35 and $45 an hour.
I've worked with a big company here in the area, the biggest company in Virginia and North Carolina, and they were giving me 28% as a licensed electrician with my own van.
28% of the job.
Mm-hmm. But their prices were super high. Yeah, it's very low to get returning customers. Because if we needed help, you'll ask another tech, hey, would you come and help me for, let's say 10% or share the job with them.
Yeah, that gets really messy on the back end. And honestly, what ended up happening with us is that payroll every week took like 4 or 5 hours to do. And it was becoming a nightmare. And the idea behind it is you try to make the techs 100% accountable for their jobs and they're responsible for their stuff. But for whatever reason, it just didn't work out for us. You know, that's why we switched to an hourly. So that way, if, hey, a guy's stuck and it's 3 o'clock and you need to send someone out to help him at the end of the day, finish up, you're not trying to negotiate percentages or figure out that stuff at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you're just trying to get through that day, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good feedback. Nice. Yeah, some good feedback for you there, Manifa. Is it Manifa?
Yeah, yeah. Trying to change the name. I don't know how to.
No, it's okay.
Hanifa.
Yeah. Nice. Well, we've got a little bit of time. We might be able to get another question in there and some feedback if anybody's got something. Any other questions we got this morning, or anybody else had some feedback there they wanted to chime in on that last one? Mr. Haviland, go ahead.
I've got a young gentleman that came last summer who he was 17 at the time and worked with us for about a month or so, and just did some apprentice work. Essentially, he was helping move some lumber around, and we were building a enclosure for a screen enclosure for a patio, and I was on site for most of it. And we negotiated, just a really good base subcontracting cost for him, and he had a great time. And this is the craziest thing, is he was probably more efficient, more productive than any of my full-time guys were at the time. Just real go-getter kind of kid. Anyway, he's 18 now, he's graduated, and he's looking not just for a summer job, but something he can really grow into. He doesn't have a ton of experience, but the kid was just phenomenal. I mean, I could show him anything and he'd pick it up in 5-10 minutes. And so I'm really thinking about putting him on the field with another gentleman I've had work for me before. He has his own carpentry business. He doesn't know how to sell, and he doesn't have a lot of business coming in, and he's really slow right now. And so he called me and said, "Hey, Jeff, I'd love to come and work with you." I've been doing just subs for the longest time now, and it's been great. The lack of overhead, and it's a lot easier when guys are self-contained. So I'm really thinking about putting Kyle, the more experienced guy, on the field. He knows my system. He knows my shop. Basically, what they would be working on is assembling cabinetry, getting it prepped to paint, and then painting it. And between what I've taught Kyle and what he already knows, he can handle all that himself. But having Jalen, this other younger gentleman, on the field would help a lot. It's been a while since I've had anybody this young on the field, and I'm really trying to debate, should I just go sub for both of them for the time being, or should I go ahead and put them on the books? And the way I used to run was test somebody out for 30 days. Right, within that first month, you can kind of see, can they hack it? But I already know the work ethic and the dedication of both of these guys. So I'm really considering offering a, reasonable salary to Kyle, the experienced gentleman. And then I'm just not sure what to do with Jalen, the younger guy.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan and a proponent of, even on the subcontractor model, to have you will have some W-2 guys as well, kind of gophers or
the
people
hybrids
that bridge the gap. Yeah, bridge the gap between trades. So is your question, I don't necessarily have volume for 2 guys like that?
No, I've got plenty of volume.
It.
I don't want to lose him potentially. I think what I'm trying to get at is he's a great worker. I know that if we put him into, let's say, for example, Kyle's working on fabrication and prep work for the cabinetry, getting everything assembled, filling anything that needs filling, prep work on it, light scuff sand with the machine, all the caulking, all that stuff. We could get Jalen in there like a machine and just show him, here's the steps that we're going to have you working on today, run him through it 10, 20 minutes, make sure he's good, and then he would just be off to the races. So what I'm trying to determine is if I should start him out on W-2 straight away, or if I should simply just put him back on as a sub, see if he's enjoying the work after about 3-4 weeks, keep touching base with him at the end of every week, get on the field a little bit, make sure he's comfortable, etc. And then essentially offer him a position. And I'm really not sure. I guess I need to break down my numbers.
You just answered your own question.
Yes. Yeah. I think I need to break down my numbers. I think I need to figure out what I'm capable of offering him and what the ROI would be. But I think that's where my hang up is I need to figure out, number one, what I can afford for what he's going to be doing, and then the best way to present and offer that essentially.
Yeah. And I love the model of bringing somebody in as a sub at first and communicating that to them, saying, hey, let's see how it goes. This is your job description. I want this to be a good fit for both of us. And then after 60 days or whatever it is, we can talk about bringing you on as an employee and what that would look like. That might come with a pay raise, benefits, whatever, more responsibilities, but that is a great model to run for anybody,
that way you can see the red flags, right? It's like a good relationship. You're not getting engaged to anybody in the
3 months in.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the good thing is you kind of know this guy to an extent already. So you know what he's going to be capable of. You've had that history. So you're not expecting anything crazy to come out of that. But absolutely, you can build that in. I think it's a very realistic thing too, to even ask the question, hey, do you long-term want to be W-2? Obviously it's more risk for me to take on as an owner, but if that's something he doesn't even want, okay, questions answered that way too. He's
gone into he's been studying landscape architecture and landscape management, and so that's what he's been going to school for, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to go into college for if he does decide to do so in the fall. And so this is good because it's giving him some leg up on, design in a way. And we do have an opportunity for him to get into some CAD if it's something that, he could excel at, because I do need somebody to run that in the shop with the cabinetry, which I think would be great, another leg up for him. But yeah, I need to figure out my numbers, and I've already put that on my list for my next call to go through that so that I can properly assess how I could offer that to him. And then, see what he's interested in for sure and kind of move from there. I can't get over how good this kid was. I mean, we were on site I was there for almost 3 weeks helping the guys build this thing. And I guess it's about 2.5. Anyway, he never checked his phone. Even when he ate lunch, he just sat there and we had conversations and we just chatted about life. And it reminded me about when I first got into painting. First, we didn't have smartphones. We just had flip phones and you could send a picture, and that was it. We weren't staring at these things all day long. And so it was a good testament to not only his work ethic, but his desire to be involved in what's going on in front of him.
He wants to learn.
Yes, exactly.
We love that. Yeah. Charles, I don't know if you have a quick comment or quick question here. Want to get to you.
I had a quick comment on that. I was going to, in the state of Vermont, I was going to do that, start somebody out as a sub. But my insurance company said to do that, then they would have to pay for a ghost policy, and that's so expensive.
That's a great point.
I had people that wanted me to do that when I was sub, and it was thousands of dollars, and it's if that's somebody just starting out, that's a lot of money.
That's a great point. I'm really glad you brought that up, because what happens at the end of the year, of course, is we're going to get audited. And when I have these guys on as a subcontractor and they don't have their limited liability policy, that's going to fall on my policy. If my policy doesn't reflect that they're covered, I end up having to pay that at the end of the year. That is a freaking excellent point, and I'm so glad you reminded me about that. So basically, I need to call my insurance agent and see if I can get him on his own relatively inexpensive limited liability policy, because that is the least expensive route, because then he's got his own butt covered, so to speak.
Yep.
And then mine is too. That's a phenomenal point. God, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That just made this entire call
why we have these
worth
calls.
it.
That's why we have these calls.
Thank you so much, Charles.
Thanks. Yeah. I got to run. It was nice meeting you guys.
Thanks, Charles.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, it is that time. Great feedback, guys. Great wins, great questions. Know that you never have to wait for this call either. We do have our group chat. So if something comes up throughout the week, don't hesitate to put a question in there, get feedback, or even if you learned something and you want to share the wealth, it's a great opportunity to do that too. But we're going to close out this group call. If I could get everybody to unmute, we'll do a big 3, 2, 1 growth. See the microphones coming off. 3, 2, 1, growth.
Growth.
All right, guys, have a good week.
Did you turn up?